It is a truth long established that a liberal woman over 50 with a lesbian haircut is sure to support the most evil ideas and policies that mankind has ever conceived. If evil had a face and a haircut, this is what it would look like. It would look exactly like...
She is the worst preacher I have ever in my life.
Talking about behaviors, and she's cloaking these behaviors under the false guise of compassion. I mean, she's lecturing a guy who got shot about being in danger.
Bombshell report today. You remember that woke pastor idiot that was lecturing Trump to his face about refugees and immigrants and lesbian and transgender people? Well, she has just been...
It might be hard to believe, but it's true. The so-called woke bishop, who claims to stand for illegal immigrants and transgender rights, has just been exposed. And honestly, this might be the most fascinating revelation yet. But that's not all. Her past connections and secret collaborations are also coming to light. So buckle up, and before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Let's start with her surprising appearance at a Trump rally. But this wasn't her first time making headlines. She's also been tied to underground projects with organizations like USAID. Now, watch how people with common sense are reacting to this shocking truth.
Back to the summer of 2020, when, encouraged by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the wake of George Floyd's overdose, BLM and Antifa began rioting, of course, across the country, but also in the nation's capital. Now, nobody at the Department of Justice or the FBI has ever pretended to care about this particular riot or any of the other ones, but it was pretty substantial by any objective metric. They injured dozens of Secret Service officers, they destroyed cars, vandalized monuments, looted dozens of businesses, ultimately forcing Donald Trump to take cover in the White House bunker. The mob also set fire to a church in Lafayette Square called St. John's, just a block from the White House. Now, if you're not familiar with it, St. John's is an Episcopal church. It's often called the Church of the Presidents because every president has attended the church since it was first constructed in the early 19th century. And in 2020, because Democrats had riled up a violent mob to advance a narrative of racial injustice in an election year, the church was under attack. And that is in spite of the fact that the Episcopal Church, as you probably know, is the wokest institution on earth. I mean, the Episcopal Church makes Planned Parenthood seem far right by comparison. The pride flag has long replaced the cross of Christ in the Episcopal Church. And I use the word church only in the architectural sense. I mean, the churches themselves are often quite beautiful. Architecturally, everything that happens inside those churches is hideous. In any case, Marianne Budde was responsible for overseeing the church at the time. And after the violence and arson had subsided, she went on PBS to talk about what happened. But instead of defending her church or condemning the rioters who had just lit St. John's on fire, Marianne blamed Donald Trump. She claimed that Trump, merely by appearing outside the church to survey the damage, had, quote, used the mantle of the church to communicate a political message, which is going to be a very...
It's truly incredible how skilled she is at acting. Despite spreading endless lies and propaganda, she never once apologized or took responsibility. Instead, she ran straight to woke media outlets, desperately trying to push her agenda. But she made one big mistake. She underestimated Trump. He exposed the web of nonsense she orchestrated, and now, the truth is out. It's honestly disturbing how these so-called woke figures use taxpayer money to turn people against Trump. Yet, reality is setting in. Nearly 90% of Americans now support what Trump and his administration are doing. And to top it off, Greg Gutfeld has completely exposed her for what she really is.
So she uses her spiritual authority to block criticism because she's a bishop. Don't argue with a bishop. She's a bishop. And, it comes from a long history of this. She's not defending sinners or the poor. She's not like Jesus. She's talking about behaviors. And she's cloaking these behaviors under the false guise of compassion. I mean, she's lecturing a guy who got shot about being in danger. Mm-hmm. Who is she implying that is putting these people in danger? Are there guys in MAGA hats that are mutilating healthy children, removing their genitals? No, that's her team. That's the people she's defending. Does she have any evidence that children are in danger by this new administration, the administration that is trying to rescue missing kids through this border fiasco? She may have a congregation, but she has no class. She saw an opportunity to feed her ego. She knew this was going to happen, and she rushed to the trough. On the bright side, I have to say, She didn't call him Hitler, which is good. But who knew Satan wore granny glasses and stole his haircut from John Denver just because you're spiritual, Harold, and you are? Doesn't make you smart, holy, or even good. We somehow ascribe those qualities like that, and imposters are here to exploit it. You know, Satan isn't going to show up in red tights holding a pitchfork. It's going to show up like that. She's an imposter. She exploits compassion for terrible, terrible beliefs. There is no compassion in saying that trans kids are in danger. They're in danger by the trans ideology. And when you're talking about immigrants being in danger, is she not aware that legal immigrants overwhelmingly favor a strong border because they like rules? They like the fact that you cannot cheat. You have to stand in line. I love also how she appreciates the immigrants for all the dishes they wash. She's the hood ornament for imposter morality. And she throws her weight, the church, to defend horrible.
What we all overlooked was her true motive: money. She pushed these agendas not out of belief, but because they lined her pockets. Even now, it's shocking to realize that she exploited immigrants, keeping them under her control with a budget so low it wouldn't even cover a month's worth of groceries. And if you're still wondering how much she really took to fund this nonsense and promote her radical ideologies, just wait. Our friend from Twitter broke it all down, and the numbers will leave you speechless.
Been exposed. Elon Musk has discovered she alone has pocketed over $53 million through her organization by USAID. That's right, your federal taxpayer dollars was being sent to this woke pastor and her church and her organizations. But it doesn't end there. If you go to the usspending.gov website, you will see hundreds of millions of dollars were given to the Lutheran Church Network. It's the churches with the LGBTQ flags on the outside of their church. It's the ones that ignore sin and just preach love, right? They don't talk about the sin. They're the ones promoting abortion, promoting transgenderism, promoting gay and lesbian. And honestly, I think they are worse than anybody in Antifa. I think they're worse than anybody in the Democratic Party, because not only are they pushing leftist, godless views, but they're calling themselves Christians at the same time. Now, the craziest part about this bombshell report is that these churches had changed their names so that they didn't show up in the database. So they were getting hundreds of millions of dollars in grants and payouts by USAID and trying to hide it at the same time. Some would call that money laundering, but
You don't need to be an expert, just a sharp eye and common sense are enough. And thankfully, Trump is bringing back order to America. It's truly shameful to see millions of dollars wasted on pushing fear and brainwashing children. As a Christian, I can't help but wonder, where did she even get this mindset? After all, the Bible says we have the mind of Christ. Honestly, I feel sorry. Not just for her, but also for Kamala Harris, the queen of words.
For those rights to be maintained, which means we have to be vigilant, and it's just the nature of it. Yes, I mean, look at this beautiful play and everything that we know he was suppressed, he had to suppress so much. But he knew, and he took those risks, but we have to be clear-eyed. And it doesn't mean we don't see the beauty in everything, right? These things all coexist. But I believe we fight for something, not against something. Right. And that's our optimism, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Watching all this unfold, along with the USAID scandals being exposed, really puts things into perspective. And now, doctors have even identified a new condition called TDS. You won't believe how real it is. It's astonishing how the lower and middle class continue to support Kamala on issues that only make them poorer. The sad truth? If woke liberals regain power, they won't care about these people at all. They'll just push their own agenda, leading their followers straight into becoming full-blown TDS patients.
They call it like Trump derangement syndrome, and you don't realize how real this is until you can't reason with people. So I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and everything was a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name, and it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained methamphetamine and rabies. Okay, and they're like, wow. And I'm like, what is wrong, guys? You can't have a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become complete.
Guys, this is just unbelievable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure to send this to a friend who needs to see it. Thanks for watching.